Now we will have, last but not least, guest speaker. And he will be talking about Kickstarter, platforms, and crowdfunding. His name is Isaac Kim. He's a project manager of Alto Business Group. Let's welcome Isaac to the platform.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. My name is Isaac Min. I am the manager of crowdfunding projects here at Altos Business Group. We are a product launch consulting agency. And so we primarily work with entrepreneurs who are looking to launch their business or product in the US market. And we do work primarily with startups and entrepreneurs, but we do work with mid-sized companies as well. And we help with global companies enter the US market through platforms like Kickstarter and other crowdfunding platforms. And so today I will be speaking to all of our participants about crowdfunding because it is a relatively new sector that has popped up within the past few years, and a lot of people may not be familiar with it and the power that it provides for people who are looking to launch their products and businesses. So I will go straight into my presentation. All righty. So this is Crowdfunding 101, prepared to you by Altos Business Group. Again, I am Isaac Min. I am the manager of the crowdfunding department and projects here at Altos Business Group. And so before we even start, this is the outline for today's presentation. What is crowdfunding? What do I need to do or prepare for a crowdfunding campaign? What kind of products tend to find success on crowdfunding platforms? Leveraging crowdfunding during COVID-19, and a list of Altos services for some of those that might be interested in working with us on a crowdfunding campaign. So the first thing that we're coming up with, what is crowdfunding? And so crowdfunding is a way to raise capital directly from a large number of individuals to finance a new business venture. And so rather than going traditionally through a business, you're raising funds online through a platform that provides this kind of service. And so there are two types of crowdfunding that I wanted to discuss briefly, but we will be focusing on the reward-based. And so first off with the reward-based, it's you receive investments and provide a physical reward in return. And so within the platform, what we like to call backers will look at your page for a listed product, see the information and what kind of value you provide through your product, and in a way purchase or fund your campaign. And in return, they receive your product earlier before it goes to the market or within your e-commerce website or even platforms such as Amazon. And so this type of system is typically meant for entrepreneurs with physical products. So that can include a gadget, a game, it could even be a music event. You could even crowdfund for your restaurant. For example, if you are struggling during the COVID-19 pandemic and would like to raise funds to keep your business afloat, reward-based crowdfunding would be a great way for you to leverage. And the largest reward-based crowdfunding platforms in the world right now are both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, with the majority of backers going to Kickstarter. Some campaigns do well on Indiegogo and even excel on that as well. And the second type of crowdfunding that I wanted to explain today was equity-based. And so this is when you receive investments and give a portion of your equity in return. And so it can be similar to traditional types of funding where you receive a certain amount of money and you give equity in return. But this is not limited to seed investors or traditional investment companies, but this is for the mass public. And so this is typically meant for entrepreneurs with non-physical products, such as a software, a mobile app, a subscription service, so on and so forth. And the largest equity-based crowdfunding platforms available on the internet right now are WeFunder, Start Engine, and Republic. And so going into the basics of reward-based crowdfunding, these are some terms that are crucial in order for you to understand the rest of the presentation. And so a campaign is a project that is created to raise a certain amount of money in a limited time frame. And so we'll refer to that depending on the platform that you're using. If it's Kickstarter, it'll be a Kickstarter campaign. If you're going on Indiegogo, it'll be an Indiegogo campaign. And since it does seem like we have some Korean participants, I'm pretty sure some of you may have heard of Wadis. Wadis is a Korean crowdfunding platform that is very popular in Korea right now. And a lot of entrepreneurs have been using that to launch their products or their business. And so moving on, a backer is an individual who pledges money to join entrepreneurs in bringing projects to life. So again, because this is reward-based crowdfunding, it would be for a physical product. A creator is the person or team behind the project idea. So that can be an individual, a team, unofficial team, but it could also be a business, start a business, so on and so forth. And rewards are how creators repay their backers for funding his or her campaign. And so you have the product listed to the side, and I will show you a sample of a campaign page later on. And the rewards are basically products that people will purchase, but we like to say back, and that's how they fund your campaign in order to start your business. And lastly, payments for crowdfunding campaigns are typically done after a campaign ends. And so a backer will typically go to your campaign page, see what kind of reward options you have, select one, and reserve their spot. And once the campaign is finished and over, that's when their credit card will be charged so that they can receive the reward later on. So who backs crowdfunding campaigns? And so this is the key demographics that apply globally. So whether that's Kickstarter or Indiegogo, backers are typically male, ranging from 25 to 45 years old with enough disposable income to invest in crowdfunding campaigns. And so they're not necessarily guaranteed to be fulfilled. And so these type of people are very specific, and we like to call them early adopters, because these are people who are interested in new technologies, new inventions, and are willing to spend money to receive a product that may not be perfect, but is interesting enough to provide them value. And over 65% of backers on platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo originate from the US. And the remaining 35% of backers originate from countries such as the UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, France, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan. And so what does a crowdfunding page look like? So this is crucial for you to understand how the overall flow goes. And so you'll see, it'll start off with the main thumbnail image. You'll also have a high quality production video to explain what your product is. You'll have high quality product and concept images as well. So although this is still in the early stages of your business or your product, you have to have these type of digital assets in order to convince people to purchase or reward or back your product. And so copy is in reference to copywriting. And so the text on your campaign is also crucial as well. You'll notice that some of the campaigns that you might visit on Kickstarter or Indiegogo uses enticing copy in order to draw in backers. And of course, lastly, enticing reward options. If your product is too expensive, or if it feels like they don't provide value, then it's most likely that backers will look at your crowdfunding campaign and decide not to invest or back your campaign or your project. So let's take a look at a sample campaign page. And so this is on the platform Kickstarter. And so you can see that right off the bat, this is called Lark Pitcher with the copy Pure Water Beyond Filtration. And so this is a water filtration system that takes any type of water, whether it's tap or bottled, filters it through their two-step process that they explain within their crowdfunding campaign page. And you can see they're created by Justin Wang. This particular campaign had 6,364 backers who pledged $771,917 to bring this to life. And so this is a huge anomaly within crowdfunding campaigns. I would say usually around less than 1% of all crowdfunding campaigns launched on Kickstarter, and I would say this applies to Indiegogo as well, reach the $100,000 threshold. And this is typically for campaigns that invest almost everything they have into making this a reality. And so scrolling down, just a brief information on the funding progress. You'll have a fixed timeline for your crowdfunding campaign. Traditionally, we would like to go with 30 days. And the reason for that is it gives a sense of urgency for the people who visit your page. And so it entices them to back your campaign early on to take advantage of the early rewards that you have on your page. And this is the main video that we have, but because of time restrictions, we won't play that for you. But if you're interested, I do recommend that you go to this product page or any of the other Kickstarter campaign pages and take a look at some of the videos with high funded projects. So you'll see that this is located in San Francisco, California. Please note that a lot of campaigns do originate from other countries. For Kickstarter, the platform does allow creators to launch worldwide, except for certain countries that do not have the Stripe payment option available. And one of that is being South Korea. But here at Altos, we do help overcome that boundary if you are looking to launch a crowdfunding campaign from Korea. And so you'll see that they have high quality images. This has been mentioned in major news outlets as well, primarily because they had a pre-launch marketing phase that was done very well. So as you can see, this is on the platform Kickstarter. You have the main thumbnail image here. You can see the creator's name, how many backers they've had, and how much funding they received. You'll see the funding graph here, but this is a separate add-on that you can install later called Bigger Cake. And if you scroll down, you'll see that they have a main video, but for, again, time purposes, I won't be able to share that with you. And you'll see, again, how much funding they've received, how many backers they've had. And again, going through real quick, you'll see that they have a lot of high quality images, copy that really draws in the attention of the backers, and information that has high value for the people who are interested in backing this campaign. So although it looks a bit simplistic, the amount of time and effort that goes into making one of these pages is very enormous. And so you have to take a look at every step of the campaign and see if it'll draw the attention and help with that transition for the backer as they're scrolling down the page. And the most important part for the creator is on the right-hand side, as you guys can see here. So this is where the rewards are listed. You'll see that for this particular one, the Lark Picture, early bird, which means it's limited and exclusive only to a certain amount of people. If they pledge $88 or more, they'll receive a Lark Picture. And so essentially backers are investing $88 into your company with no guarantee of receiving the reward. But within the Kickstarter platform, they do expect you to deliver and fulfill upon that promise. And you'll see that for this particular reward tier, you have one Lark Picture, an essential filter, so on and so forth. You'll have an estimated delivery. And so the reason they say estimated delivery is because they understand that because entrepreneurs and startups do not have much experience in fulfilling rewards or products, that this could be delayed. And you can also specify which countries the rewards are shipped to. So again, you can see it's limited. So only 451 backers were able to purchase the Lark Picture early bird. And so you can take a look at this campaign page and some of the other ones, but I'll move on to the next section of the presentation. So switching back. So what do I need to prepare for a crowdfunding campaign? And so as we saw the Lark Picture campaign, I'm pretty sure you noticed that there are some things that need to go into the crowdfunding campaign in order to make it look beautiful, but also be impactful so that you can raise the maximum amount of funds that you can. So the first thing, and I really want to stress this, is that you have to, as a creator, have 100% commitment to making your crowdfunding campaign a success. Here at Altos Business Group, we do pre-screen our candidates and make sure that they are 100% invested into the crowdfunding campaign. Because if you do work with us or on your own, it typically takes around 5 to 6 months to prepare, launch, and wrap up a campaign. And so it'll take a lot of your time. And so going forth, you also have to have a working prototype for your product that has not been sold anywhere else. And this is also crucial because crowdfunding platforms stress innovation. If you have a product that's already sold on a different market or platform, you cannot raise funds for this. So, and then moving on, you have to have enough capital to pay for any expenses that go into a crowdfunding campaign. So for example, if you do hire someone to make your video and image assets, then you'll have to hire someone to do that. And you'll also have to have a budget that is set aside for marketing and ad spend. And so this will help your campaign take off. And because you only have a limited amount of time within that set time frame, which is again, usually around 30 days, some do stretch it to 45 or 60 days. And after that, you want to do as much research as you can before you launch. Does your product fit with what crowdfunding backers are looking for? When I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, these people are typically male, 25 to 45 years old in age, and they're early adopters. And so to put it in more candid terms, they're geeks, they're nerds. They're looking for something that's really interesting and new. And so that's typically within the technology category as well. And two, you want to look at some of the other products and campaigns that are similar to yours. What successes or failures did they have? And again, what is the best price point for your type of product? Some entrepreneurs don't do enough research, especially in this portion, because they'll overvalue their product and price it way too high or price it way too low. And that reduces consumer or backer confidence and results in lowering the threshold of your potential for fundraising on platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And then lastly, how much does it cost to ship your product worldwide? And so many entrepreneurs, when they first create a product, they're only invested into the product itself, but they have little to no experience in actually going into the logistics And so it's always important to either work with an agency such as ours or a separate logistics company and see how much it costs to ship your product for each company that you plan to ship to. And lastly, a community to back your campaign as soon as it launches. And so when you saw in the LARC campaign, you saw the funding graph. Initially, the first bar was extremely high. The reason for that is because they did an extensive pre-launch marketing campaign. And again, that stresses back to having a budget for marketing and ad spend. And so in order to do that properly, you have to have the funds and a correct strategy and build up a community so that they back your campaign starting day one, and so that you can ride that momentum until the end of the campaign. Okay, so what kind of products tend to find the most success on crowdfunding platforms? And so this is a screenshot that I pulled straight from Kickstarter. As you can see within the top column, within all the categories, they have had up until 502,000 campaigns that have launched, but not all of them have been successful. As you can see within the last, right here, success rate, 38.13% success rate. And so what that means is either the product or the amount of effort put into the campaign was not enough or was not a good fit for this crowdfunding platform. And out of all the categories, I only pulled the top three because I felt that especially the third one might be relevant. Games usually refers to tabletop games, board games, video games, computer games. Design categories are products that solely focus on the design and aesthetics of the product. And lastly, technology category usually surrounds hardware and any tech that can be used in a physical product. And you can see the amount of funds raised within these campaigns reaches the hundreds of millions of dollars, which shows the potential that these platforms and the power that it can provide for entrepreneurs, creators, so on and so forth. So what are the traits of successful products as well? And so because, as I mentioned, crowdfunding platforms stress so much on innovation, you have to have a brand new idea with proof of concept. When crowdfunding was first introduced back in the early 2000s, you were able to launch a campaign just on a concept itself. And so you could try and convince the backers that you have this great idea for this product, but you don't have a physical prototype yet. Now that has changed because there are so many avenues and so many loopholes where people have used the crowdfunding platforms and not fulfilled upon their promise to deliver a quality product or any product at all. Now the trend has shifted so that you have to have a product with proof of concept. And so you also have to show that your product is drastically better than any of its competitors. And so that doesn't mean you have to have the latest technology, the latest hardware, so on and so forth, but you have to have some sort of innovation that shows that your product is at least slightly better than your competitors. And third, a product that solves a major problem and provides real value for backers. And so these are the type of products that you'll find as you're living your daily life and you notice that there's a small problem or issue within your daily life that could be optimized or fixed in general. Products that fill in this gap tend to do very well on crowdfunding platforms. And fourth, a product with a thoughtful design. Aesthetics are important when it comes to campaigns and products that you're trying to fundraise for. In the end, I'm pretty sure a lot of the participants or people who may be watching later on, when you think about how you shop or decide to purchase a specific product, you'll notice that aesthetics comes into a big play into your decision. And so if you don't focus on that portion of your product enough, no matter how much value it can provide, if it doesn't fit within their aesthetic vision, it won't do as well as it could. Some campaigns and some products do well without a exceptional design, but it does minimize your potential on these platforms. And lastly, a combination of all the four mentioned above can result in a seven-figure campaign. So there are entrepreneurs who have launched products with 3 to 1-person team, and you'll raise millions of dollars. And that's because it combines all four aspects within the traits of successful products. And so this is probably very crucial, leveraging crowdfunding during COVID-19. And so this can apply not only to major businesses, but it also applies to individual entrepreneurs and small businesses as well. And so I'll be explaining that. So crowdfunding, so during COVID-19, just to explain the trends a little bit, the number of live crowdfunding campaigns has decreased. So the total number, but the success rates have increased. And so we have found that creators on platforms such as Kickstarter and Indiegogo have been focusing more and more time into their campaigns. And we find that that is most likely because of the time that they have gained, unfortunately, as a result of layoffs. And so these people who have maybe working full-time jobs have had an idea or a prototype that they've always wanted to launch and start their own business. But now that they have the time to do so and possibly the money to do so as well, they have found success on these platforms, which has increased the success rate. And so two, small businesses have been able to raise crucial funds to stay afloat during the pandemic. And so restaurants, bars, family shops, you can leverage your local community to go to these crowdfunding pages that you have made to keep your businesses afloat. There are some restaurants, bars, a lot of companies in the food industry that are more mom and pop shops that have been able to stay afloat and continue to run their business, or at least keep it on pause until the pandemic is over, because of the support they gain from their backer communities. So you can always market this to your friends, family, loved ones. But surprisingly enough, a lot of the backers have this philanthropic, I guess, portion to their personalities. And so they find it extremely rewarding, where they will find local businesses in different regions of the world. So you could be a backer from California, find that a restaurant in New York City is crowdfunding, and they'll back that campaign regardless of whether they're able to receive the rewards or not. And so depending on the narrative that you present within these crowdfunding campaign pages, this can be a very powerful tool for small businesses as well. And here at Altos, we do also work with medium-sized companies and large-sized companies. Because of the pandemic, they have been looking to launch their products or a new product line in a way that circumvents the obstacles that are presented to them because of the pandemic. And crowdfunding has been a great way for them to do that as well. And so this doesn't apply specifically to the pandemic, but one of the most recent, I would say, viral campaigns that a medium-sized company has launched is Gillette, the razor shaving company, launched their heated razor. So it was a razor with a heated bar on the top of the head. And they launched that through Indiegogo and received a massive pre-order. And because they were able to utilize that and leverage it as a marketing tool, the sales for that alone skyrocketed even after they launched officially on their website. And so lastly, just want to wrap up with what kind of services does Altos provide. And so for us here at our headquarters based in Costa Mesa, California, we help with the creation and managing of crowdfunding campaigns from start to finish. We do have a la carte packages for certain portions of the campaign if you are more restricted on your budget. But this does include the creation of your page, the creation of your video, digital assets, your marketing strategy, research, all of that is covered here at Altos Business Group. We also have an established network of partners that are experts in their respective fields in the crowdfunding scene. So that whether that's the video scene, the image scene, or the marketing, we have an extensive network that works with us in tandem to create a campaign page that is maximized to reach its potential. And third, helping overseas startups and medium-sized companies successfully enter the US consumer market. And so as I mentioned within the introduction, we do help launch crowdfunding campaigns for overseas businesses as well. And so if you are from South Korea or any other country that is looking to launch a crowdfunding campaign for your next product line, feel free to reach out to us and we can get a conversation started and see if that can happen. And fourth, we do specialize within the technology and design category. And so if you are a biotech company and you have a specific technology for a hardware product that you feel like would be great for consumers, then this is something that you could utilize as well. And we would be more than willing to help out or at least provide consultation on how you can maximize your potential. And we do have a portfolio of raising over $10 million for our clients. And so we find that to be very successful because a lot of these companies start from literally nothing. They might have a prototype and that's all they have. And they'll come to us and be like, can you please help me launch a campaign and help me start this business? And so we're very excited to say that up until now, though the numbers may have risen since we've last looked at the numbers, but from what I've seen, it's been $10 million. It might be more though. And so that is the end of my presentation for crowdfunding. If you do have questions or would like to reach out, feel free to email me listed down below. I'm in at altosbusiness.com. You can also visit our website, www.altosbusiness.com, to take a more in-depth look at our services And feel free to shoot me a text or call me if you would like to schedule a meetup so that we can discuss your future crowdfunding campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. That was a great presentation, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and that presentation ignited so many questions, and I would definitely contact Isaac directly to get more answers and find out about crowdfunding and Kickstarter. And with every other presentations that we have provided here, you can do the same. Download your app and send in the questions or connect directly. You're able to do that for the next whole year. So that is one of the greatest benefits that you get for downloading our app.